Hey, it's Mark, and we're talking about Upland's new city release coming up in Washington, D.C. We haven't seen a city release for a little while, unless you count Bermuda, which was very small and limited, and it's a very different release from what we're used to. Very, very expensive. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about why that might not be a good idea for Upland and kind of what their plan is. And we'll talk about some other things that have been going on because it has been a while since I've done a video. So I've been busy. I've been doing my real estate stuff. I've got a new car channel. And honestly, Upland hasn't been crazy exciting for me lately. We still have our Discord. You're welcome to join that. I still am in discussions on there once in a while. I'm still doing tycoons a little bit, which is part of Upland. But I haven't been doing a whole lot within Upland. And I'm curious if other people feel the same way, if you are doing a lot or what's going on there. So, first off, we had quite a bit happened recently. I think I've talked about most of it. Cars can drive now. We had the Tahoe release, which I thought was actually a good release. I bought quite a few properties there, sold quite a few properties, made decent money. It wasn't crazy expensive. I mean, there was some, it was a little bit expensive, but it's very small. So I think if you're going to have an expensive release, it can be very, very small. And it's got lots of waterfront properties. They had some special buildings with it. It wasn't bad. They had Bermuda, which I did get one property in, sold it right away. Very, very tiny release there. Again, very tiny. Can kind of justify, I guess, really high prices there because it was so small and so limited. But that also makes it tough for players. If you traveled there and went there and didn't get anything, that's pretty frustrating. So now they're releasing Washington, D.C. And that is going to be, is that the outline of the city already? Or is that just, I don't know. Many people are in the area. That's probably the actual D.C. area, right? I've been there once, but it's been a long, long time ago. So Upland has made it no mystery is going to be very, 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 very expensive. Again, we've had expensive release, expensive release, expensive release, expensive release, seemingly over and over and over again. And I feel like Upland says they want new players and they want to grow and get bigger, but all these releases and everything they do is catered towards existing players with tons of experience, tons of upics, and not new players. Sure, we had, what was it? Trenton and some other city, like Bakersfield or something in California. And they say, well, these are for new players with FSA properties, which are first start properties only new players can buy. And they're cheap and they're great for people who want to start. I'm sorry, but if I'm starting the game, I don't want to start in like the crappiest towns you've got. Like, why don't you let me start in the good towns where everybody else is starting and make some money? Why are you kind of sticking me in these little small towns that don't have much room for growth or to make money and people don't even know about because it's like a surprise release? That seems, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand their strategy right now. And I think it's going to chase away most new players, and a lot of players are just sticking in the game because they've got so much money invested. Like I said, the Tahoe release was fun, but if I was a brand new player, I would have had to buy a car and drive there and then spend 100,000 upics to get a few properties. Who's going to be able to do that as a new player? Who's going to want to spend that money? Who's going to want to make that investment without knowing what it's about, without having some experience here? So it's kind of like the fun releases are reserved for the good players, where, when I first started, we had the Bronx and Detroit, and there are tons of cheap properties and so many properties, and whether you're new or experienced, you could make a lot of money and have a lot of fun. That was awesome. Hint, Upland. That was awesome when you did that. And I don't think it's just me who thinks that either, because Upland still has their marketplace analytics up, and we can kind of come here and see what their charts look like. And this is back in November of 22, the end, kind of when I joined around here, and you could see how well it was doing with these big releases and cheap releases. Even LA, I feel like was better than all the releases they've had lately. And then this is the daily transaction volume. I don't know if I said that. It's just gone downhill from there. Now there's almost nothing. They're doing releases, and you can't even tell. There's barely a bump in the volume. And if they're really looking to increase upics, to increase money to themselves and increase people playing, I think these charts should tell them everything they need to know about what they need to do, and it's something different than what they're doing right now. This page does not work very well. You can't really, but the daily, there it goes. So this, again, the daily trading volume, down to almost nothing. Even with with releases we've had here. I mean, this is a full year going back to here. And some of these releases did okay, but the last 8 months, very little activity. So I know Upland listens to some of my videos and they watch some of them. I don't think they really care what I say, but maybe if you show them, hey, you'll make more money if you do this, they would listen. I don't know. And if people are spending more UPIX and getting more excited, they're going to buy more UPIX from Upland. I used to buy UPIX from Upland before a city release because I wanted to have money to spend. I knew I could make it back. No way I'd ever buy money from Upland now. No way. So I don't know. We'll see what they say. But anyway, here's the release. It's Wednesday, April 24th, which is very soon. I really wish they'd give us some time to plan. People have lives. They have work. I mean, if people are really excited and they like Upland, they might take a morning off from work if they have time to do that. If you give them 2 days notice, they probably can't. Or they might have a meeting, and if they've scheduled something, that just makes it more difficult for more people to play. And it's like, are you trying to surprise people and not let as many people play? Or do you want more people involved? I think you want more people involved. But again, maybe I just don't know what their main strategy is here. Who knows? 28,000 properties against 35 vibrant neighborhoods. That's a lot of properties. Now, it's not nearly as many as the Bronx or Detroit or the big releases, but for the recent releases, that's a lot. And we'll tell you why it's a lot, especially considering this fact coming up here. No FSA properties. None. They don't care about new players at all for this release. Very interesting. I don't know why they would do that. It makes zero sense to me. Why you would just say, sorry, new players, you don't have any. I mean, a new player could still buy a regular property, but the FSAs are great for new players and give them an opportunity. Don't know why they would do that. Introduces the inaugural city opening scavenger hunts. So they've got this weird thing we'll talk about. And temporary collections, which I don't understand. But anyway, okay. Percent of city opened, 45%. They're not even opening the whole city. Again, full releases are so nice. One thing nice thing about Tahoe, it was all of the city. All of it. Even though it's small, it was all of it. I'm big fan of that. Train terminal, yes. Collection range, 14 to 20 when fully released. 28,000 properties, 35 neighborhoods. Tier 1, once it's all released, now it's a Tier 2 for treasure hunting. Future expansions, yes. Average property price, 77,000 UPIX. Minimum property price, 44,110,000 UPIX. Max property price, 6 million. So they did this before, if you might remember, with, was it Miami? Where they said minimum property price was like 20-some thousand, and it ended up being like 4,000 or 3,000. And I said, oh wait, we didn't really mean minimum property price. We meant average minimum property price, or average lower tier, average upper tier, average middle. This, I think, might actually be minimum property price, because that's what it says. And then it's got the max property price of 6 million, which would make sense because before the max price in Miami was like 700,000 or something. Like, there's got to be properties more expensive than that, and there were, but 6 million could definitely be the maximum price for a property. So if this is the real minimum property price, it's by far the most expensive city, except for maybe Bermuda. I don't know. It'd be even more expensive than Bermuda. The property I bought there was cheaper than that. So this makes very little sense to me if this is correct. But again, they could be giving us a different stat than what they say, which they do all the time. So that makes it tricky for us to plan and know what's going on. So we'll see. If that's the cheapest you can buy a property, it basically eliminates all new players, even a lot of the middle run players, lower level players. And I'm just watching on my Discord people talking and discussing this. Huge turnoffs on there about the pricing here. It just makes no sense to me why they're trying to chase off so many people. Is it just because they want to make more money? Maybe. I don't know. I'm just speculating there. Launchpad properties, so there will be properties that they mint themselves. You can hopefully drive to. I probably can't drive to it. That'd be nice if I could drive to it and not fly there, but we'll see how that all works. the map. Here are all the neighborhoods. Again, I have to do some research because I don't know. I know a little bit about DC, but it's been a long time. I'm sure there'll be some really interesting areas here, and they'll probably be crazy expensive too. But I'm sure there'll be some good streets, some good areas to buy in. So I'll probably still go. I'll probably try and buy some interesting stuff, but I'm not going to buy a lot at those prices. Even though I've got a couple million UPICs to play with, I don't want to spend it all in DC and then have all my money stuck in there and not be able to get it out. That doesn't sound fun to me. Terminal sales, yes, I'll have terminals. $12.80 each, $1,500 each. Train terminals, $4.75 each. How to get there. Here's their weird scavenger hunt. So some properties will have these temporary assets on them. If you mint them, you can keep the assets or something, and then they'll have these temporary collections with a one-time award for each one. 3 properties with any flag, any starlet's 15,000, rare. 3 properties with any large flag, large starlet, 25,000. Ultra rare, 3 properties featuring a small flag, small starlet, 50,000. It'd be a lot cooler if these weren't temporary, right? Like, sure, 50,000 UPICs is nice, but if I've got to spend $200,000 on each property to get this flag, it's probably not worth it, especially if the boost is only good for like a month and it's temporary. I don't get the temporary collection thing. Maybe some people can tell me what they think about it, if it's good or bad, but I don't know. Block Explorer sale, I don't care. Passes, I don't care. Go-karts, I don't care. Get ready. Okay. Yeah, that's it. How excited am I? I mean, you can probably tell. If it was a big city with low prices, that'd be awesome. We were also talking about, they have, no, it's Trent. I'm like, they have neighborhoods already. So we were talking about this too on the Discord, how, the prices of these cities are supposed to reflect real life values. And they're making Washington, D.C. the most expensive city in Upland, whereas there's no way it's as expensive as San Francisco, although that was released a long time ago. I can understand some points. Hey, we've changed pricing. Okay, well, it's way more expensive than London. London blows Washington, D.C. out of the water with values, so I'm not sure about that. Manhattan's more expensive again. That was released a while ago, but it sure doesn't seem like their pricing has anything really to do with real life prices. It's just kind of however much they think they can get and push players around into paying. So I know a lot of people aren't even going to go to this release and aren't even going to do it. I can't blame them. I'll go. We'll see what happens, I guess. I'm honestly 0% excited about doing research and trying to look up stuff when I feel like the reward isn't going to be that great. Unlike before when I used to be excited to do this stuff and look at this stuff. So we'll see. There's some circle roads and stuff. George Washington University. There's the White House. Hey, I know what that is. So obviously that would be, Pennsylvania Avenue would be a good street. I think a lot of us know that one. Anywhere around the White House would obviously be a good neighborhood to be in, but I'm sure those properties will be crazy expensive too. But there's going to be, all kinds of stuff around here that are cool. So, I mean, it's like, well, how cool does it need to be worth something? That's a good question too. So we'll see how all this goes. We'll see how expensive the properties really are. I'm not looking to spend a whole lot unless I get some really special stuff and it's not too expensive, but my hopes of that happening aren't very high. So let me know what you think. We'll see what happens here in a couple days and we'll go from there.